শোভনে যার লম্বিত বাহু যুগল কনক কুটুম্বিনে করুণায়ম্বর শোভিত কলেবর উপমা দে যার লম্বিত বাহু যুগল কনক কুটুম্বিনে শোভিত কলেবর উপমা দে যার লম্বিত বাহু যুগল কনক কুটুম্বিনে করুণায়ম্বর শোভিত কলেবর উপমা দে
Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. In the beginning, Krishna incarnates himself as the Purusha avatars or Vishnu incarnations. These are of three types. Purport. Up to this verse, the many types of expansions have been described. Now, the manifestations of the Lord's different potencies will be described. Vishnu has three forms called Purushas. The first, Mahavishnu, is the creator of the total material energy, Mahat. The second is Garbhodakshai, who is situated within each universe. And the third is Shirodakshai, who lives in the heart of every living being. He who knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya. Purport. This verse appears in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, where it has been quoted from the Satvata Tantra. Krishna has unlimited potencies, out of which three are chief: willpower, the power of knowledge, and the creative energy. The predominator of the willing potency is Lord Krishna, for by his supreme will, everything comes into existence. In willing, there is a need for knowledge, and that knowledge is expressed through Vasudeva. There is no possibility of creation without thinking, feeling, willing, knowledge, and activity. The combination of the supreme will, knowledge, and action brings about the cosmic manifestation. Lord Sankarshan is Lord Balaram, being the predominator of the creative energy. He creates both the material and the spiritual world. That original Sankarshan, Lord Balaram, is the cause of both the material and the spiritual creation. He is the predominating deity of egotism, and by the will of Krishna and the power of the spiritual energy, he creates the spiritual world, which consists of the planet Goloka Vrindavan and the Vaikuntha planets. Although there is no question of creation as far as the spiritual world is concerned, the spiritual world is nonetheless manifested by the supreme will of Sankarshan. The spiritual world is the abode of the pastimes of the eternal spiritual energy. Gokula, the supreme abode and planet, appears like a lotus flower that has 1,000 petals. The whirl of that lotus is the abode of the Supreme Lord Krishna. This lotus-shaped supreme abode is created by the will of Lord Ananta. Purport. This verse is quoted from Chaitanya 5:2. By the energy of the material, by the agency of the material energy, this name, Lord Sankarshan, creates all the universes. The dull material energy, known in modern language as nature, is not the cause of the material universe. Without the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energy, dull matter cannot create the cosmic manifestation. Its power does not arise from the material energy itself, but is endowed by Sankarshan. Dull matter alone cannot create anything. The material energy produces the creation by the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iron itself has no power to burn, but when iron is placed in fire, it is empowered to burn. Balaram and Krishna are the original efficient and material causes of the material world. As Mahavishnu and the material energy, they enter into material elements and create the diversities by multi-energies. Thus, they are the cause of all causes. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto. The form of the Lord that descends into the material world to create is called an avatar or incarnation. All the expansions of Lord Krishna are actually residents of the spiritual world. But when they descend into the material world, they are called incarnations or avatars. To glance over that material energy and empower her, Lord Sankarshan first incarnates as Lord Mahavishnu. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord expanded himself in the form of the Purusha incarnation, accompanied by all the ingredients of material creation. First, he created the 16 principal energies suitable for creation. This was for the purpose of manifesting the material universes. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto. For an explanation, refer to Adi Leela, chapter 5. Karanad Vishai Vishnu, or Mahavishnu, is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause, and effects, mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhadakshai Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto. For an explanation, refer to Adi Leela, chapter 5. The original personality of Godhead, named Sankarshan, first lies down in the river Viraja, which serves as a border between the material and the spiritual world. As Karana Vishai Vishnu, he is the original cause of the material creation. The Viraja, or causal ocean, is the border between the spiritual and the material world. The material energy is situated on one shore of that ocean, and it cannot enter onto the other shore, which is the spiritual sky. In the spiritual world, there is neither the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, nor a mixture of both. Nor is there adulterated goodness, the influence of time or Maya herself. Only the pure devotees of the Lord, who are worshipped both by demigods and by demons, reside in the spiritual world as the Lord's associates. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, was spoken by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. He was answering the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, who asked how the living entity falls down into the material world. Shukadeva Goswami explained the cream of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, which had been explained to Lord Brahma at the end of the severe austerities he performed for 1,000 celestial years. At that time, Brahman was shown the spiritual world and its transcendental nature. Maya has 2 functions. One is called Maya, and the other is called Pradhan. Maya refers to the efficient cause, and Pradhan refers to the ingredients that create the cosmic manifestation. For a further explanation, see Adi Leela chapter 5. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead glances over the material energy, she becomes agitated. At that time, the Lord injects the original semen of the living entities. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 7.10, Krishna says, Bijanam Sarvabhutanam, I am the original seed of all existences. This is also confirmed in another verse in Bhagavad Gita 14.4. Sarvayonashi konteya murteya sambhavantiya tasman brahma mahajonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. For a further explanation, one may refer to Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 10 to 13. All material elements, as well as the spiritual sparks, or individual souls, are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed by Vedanta Sutra. Janmadhyasya yataha. The absolute truth is He from whom everything emanates. He is the supreme truth. Satyam param dimahi. The absolute ultimate truth is Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yato nyavat itaratas chavesh avinachyasarat. The absolute truth is a person who is directly and indirectly cognizant of the entire cosmic manifestation from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. The absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, educated Lord Brahma from the heart. Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Tene Brahma Vidaya Adikavaye. Therefore, the absolute truth cannot be dull matter. The absolute truth must be the Supreme Person Himself. Se Purusha Maya Pane Kara Avadana. Simply by His glance, material nature is impregnated with all living entities. According to their karma and fruits of activity, they emerge in different bodies. That is the explanation given by Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Dehinos vinyata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir girastatra jamuyate. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. To impregnate with the seeds of the living entities, the Lord Himself does not directly touch the material energy, but by His specific functional expansion, He touches the material energy, and thus the living entities, who are as parts and parcels, are impregnated into material nature. Purport. According to Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 15:17, Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana mana sastanda indriyani prakriti sani kashati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. The word prakriti sparshana is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita in reference to the way the living entities come in contact with dull matter. The glancing is performed by Mahavishnu. Sa aikshata lokanu srija iti atarayatana upanishad. In the conditioned stage, we impregnate according to the bodily conception, that is, by sexual intercourse. But the Supreme Lord does not need sexual intercourse to impregnate. The impregnation is performed simply by his glance. This is also explained in Brahma Samhita 532. Govinda can impregnate simply by glancing. In other words, his eyes can work as his genitals. He does not need genitals to beget a child. Indeed, Krishna can beget any one of the living entities with any part of his body. The word Swanga Vishesha Bhasha Rupe, indicating the form by which the Lord begets living entities in the material world, is explained herein. He is Lord Shiva. In the Brahma Samhita it is stated that Lord Shiva, who is another form of Mahavishnu, is like yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but milk, yet it is not milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva is considered the father of this universe, and material nature is considered the mother. The father and the mother are known as Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. Together, Lord Shiva's genitals and the vagina of Goddess Durga are worshipped as the Shiva Linga. This is the origin of the material creation. Thus, Lord Shiva's position is between that of the living entity and that of the Supreme Lord. In other words, Lord Shiva is neither the Supreme Personality of Godhead nor a living entity. He is the form through which the Supreme Lord works to beget living entities within this material world. As yogurt is prepared when milk is mixed with a culture, the form of Lord Shiva expands when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in touch with material nature. The impregnation of material nature by the Father, Lord Shiva, is wonderful because at one time innumerable living entities are conceived. Bhagajiva Sadvijnaya Sa Chaitanyaya Kalpate, from the Svettasvatara Upanishad. These living entities are very, very small. If we divide the tip of a hair into 100 parts, and then take one of these parts and divide it again into 100 parts, that very fine division is the size of but one of the numberless living entities. They are all chitkana, particles of spirit, not matter. The innumerable Brahmandas, or universes, come from the pores of the Lord's body, and innumerable living entities also come from the pores of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is the process of material creation. Without the living entities, this material nature has no value. Both emanate from the pores of the transcendental body of Lord Mahavishnu. They are different energies. The material nature is explained as follows by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 7.4. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Thus, the material elements also come from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they are a different type of energy from the living entity itself. Although the living entities also come from the Lord's body, they are categorized as superior energy. Besides this inferior nature of mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Bhagavad Gita 7.5. The inferior energy, matter, cannot act without the superior energy. All these things are very clearly explained in the Vedas. The materialistic theory that life develops from matter is incorrect. Life and matter come from the supreme living entity. And therefore, being the source of both, that supreme living entity, Krishna, is described in Vedanta Sutra as Janmadhyasya Yataha, or the original source of everything, Sarva Karma Karma. This is further explained in the following verse. At a time beyond memory, after agitating the material nature into 3 qualities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead placed the semen of innumerable living entities within the womb of that material nature. This material nature gave birth to the total material energy, known as Hiranyamaya Mahatattva, the original symbolic representation of the cosmic manifestation. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto. Lord Kapila is explaining to his mother the relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and material nature. He is informing her how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of the living entities who are conditioned by material nature. Over and above the 28 elements of the material creation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. Life comes not from matter, but from life itself, as explained in the Vedas, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Kata Upanishad. The Supreme Lord is the original source of life. In due course of time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maha Vaikunthanath, by the agency of a further expansion of his personal self, Mahavishnu, placed the seed of the living entities within the womb of material nature. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto. This verse tells both how the living entities come into contact with material nature, just as a woman cannot beget children without uniting with a man. Material nature cannot beget entities without being in union with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a history of how the Absolute Lord becomes the father of all living entities. In every system of religion, it is accepted that God is the Supreme Father of all living entities. According to Christianity, the Supreme Father, or God, provides the living entities with all of life's necessities. Therefore, they pray, "Give us this day our daily bread." Any religion that does not accept the Supreme Lord as the Absolute Father is called Kaitava Dharma, or a cheating religion. Such religious systems are rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaitavotra. Only an atheist does not accept the omnipotent Supreme Father. If one accepts the omnipotent Supreme Father, he abides by his orders and becomes a religious person. First, the total material energy is manifested, and from this arise the three types of egotism, which are the original sources from which all demigods, controlling deities, senses, and material elements expand. Purport. The three types of egotism, ahankar, are technically known as Vaitakarika, Taijasa, and Tamasa. The Mahatattva is situated within the heart, or Chitta, and the predominating deity of the Mahatattva is Lord Vasudeva. The Mahatattva is transformed into three divisions: Vaikarika, egotism and goodness; Sattvika, ahankar, from which the 11th sense organ, the mind, is manifested, and whose predominating deity is Aniruddha; Taijasa, or egotism in passion, Rajasa, ahankar, from which the senses and intelligence are manifested, and whose predominating deity is Lord Pradyumna; and Tamasa, or egotism in ignorance, from which sound vibration, Shabda, Tanmatra, expands. From sound vibration, the sky, Akash, is manifested, and then the senses, beginning with the ear, are also manifested. Of these three types of egotism, Lord Sankarshan is the predominating deity. In the philosophical discourse known as Sankhya Karika, it is stated that the Lord is manifested through these three divisions. Combining all the different elements, the Supreme Lord created all the universes. Those universes are unlimited in number. There is no possibility of counting them. The first form of Lord Vishnu is called Mahavishnu. He's the original creator of the total material energy. The innumerable universes emanate from the pores of his body. These universes are understood to be floating in the air that Mahavishnu exhales. They are like atomic particles that float in sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. All these universes are thus created by the exhalation of Mahavishnu. And when Mahavishnu inhales, they re-enter his body. The unlimited opulences of Mahavishnu are completely beyond material conception. The Brahmas and the other lords of the mundane world appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of a plenary portion. This is a quotation from Brahma Samhita. Mahavishnu is the original supersoul of all the universes. Lying on the causal ocean, he is the master of all material worlds. I have thus explained the truth of the first personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu. I shall now explain the glories of the second personality of Godhead. So we'll finish there. Lord Chaitanya is continuing to explain to Sanatana Goswami the nature of the material and the spiritual worlds. It's a very, very, very technical, deep philosophical subject matter, but it's quite incredible the depth of knowledge and the degree of the explanations that Prabhupada has given on these particular verses. And Prabhupada goes into a lot of detail. And when Prabhupada is writing a purport and when he's speaking also, just right off the top of his head, he just quotes so many shlokas. Sveta Sotarya Upanishad, Aitareta Upanishad, this Upanishad, Brahma Samhita, Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 5th canto, 7th canto, just boom, 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 boom. I mean, people think, that the Muslims especially, they're very particular about all their children learning how to recite the Quran. And in our Gurukul, we get the kids to recite the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada knew all the Shastras, bang, just like that, just straight. He quotes a sloka to support everything he said. I remember when we were doing, when I was working with the Gita Nagari Press, Satrup Maharaj was doing a commentary, writing a book on Srila Prabhupada's purports. And we did some research to help Satrup Maharaj when he was writing that book. And we found through the research, every single line of every single purport in Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is lifted from the Shastra. It's a shloka somewhere that has been paraphrased by Prabhupada to be put in such a way that we, in our Western mentality, we can appreciate it and understand it. Prabhupada rephrased it, and every single line of Prabhupada's purport is like that. Not a single thing is based on opinion or simply Prabhupada's idea. Everything is there, quoted from the Shastra.
Translating Srimad Bhagavatam, he was using the commentaries. He had a big book of that.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, also in CC, is there, I think in Bhagavad Gita, Vijayabhan Vishwanath Chakravarti, what is the same with Prabhupada? Are there sort of commentaries already that he's also following up?
He quotes extensively as we've been reading. Nearly every purport, especially in the beginning, was he was quoting from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, or he would quote from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or he would quote from different acharyas, and he would say on many occasions, this acharya says this, but this one slightly differs. But Prabhupada knew where to find that quotation. That's the thing. He knew where to go to look for it. This is not the days of internet or anything like that. This is pre-internet, pre-computers. I remember when we were doing the early books in the Gita Nagari Press, you had a screen and you typed on the screen. But if you wanted to make a capital letter, or you wanted to put in a diacritic, like Krishna, the 3 dots, you didn't know, you couldn't see on the screen because it didn't show you on the screen what you were typing. this is the days before before desktop publishing. So you had to put in the diacritic by putting in a command to bring that diacritic. And it was only at the end when you printed it out on chemical paper, that shiny chemical paper, and then you see, oh, we made a mistake there, we did the wrong command, and did the whole thing all over again. Very tedious work. But Prabhupada had access to all of these shastras right on the tip of his tongue, without even thinking about it. How is it possible for one person to have that degree of knowledge? It's inconceivable. I can hardly quote a few shlokas, probably all of them, not just the main, not just the Bhagavatam, CC, every shastra in existence, probably boom.
And at our age, we're starting to lose our memory anyway, basically.
Yes.
Prabhupada's writing it at our age.
Yeah. Can you come over here? Welcome back.